All right, thought I'd do a quick recording here to solve some of these trig equations. In particular, I just wanted to pick a couple problems off of delta math. So here's the first one. Solve the trig equation for all values of x between 0 and 8 pi over 3. Let's solve for x first, and then we'll talk about this, this domain that they've set up for us. But first thing, notice there's only one trig function. It's sine of 3/4 x. So I'll kind of highlight that. That's what we want to isolate to start. So we'll just do a little bit of algebra. I'll bring down the sine of 3/4 x. And then I'm going to do algebra with the other numbers in there. So in other words, I would add that √3 over 2. I'm sorry, I would add √3. And then, of course, I would divide by 2 in the first step. And then, hey, what do you have here? You have sine of some angle, right? 3/4 x is just an angle, equals √3 over 2. And guess what? That's a memorized value on your trig chart. In fact, this is in radians, right? It's implied that x is less than 8 pi over 3. So guess what? That angle, of course, the angle is 3/4 x, would have to be pi over 3, or 60 degrees, right? Okay, well, guess what? Hang on, let me just move this over a little bit. That angle could also be a quadrant 2 angle, because sine is positive, and of course this is a positive value in quadrants 1 and 2. Of course, pi over 3 is in quadrant 1, and the equivalent angle in quadrant 2 would be 2 pi over 3, right? That's in quadrant 2. And so now, I've kind of done the trigonometry part, right? Because, hey, what does this mean? This is sine of some angle is √3 over 2. That's kind of what I did there. Of course, the angle is 3/4 x. Now you can get x by itself. How do you do that? Well, you just multiply by the reciprocal. So to get rid of 3/4, I would multiply by 4/3. And of course, the same thing here. To get rid of 3/4, I would multiply by 4/3 and then simplify as best I can. So here I get 4 pi over 9. And here I got 8 pi over 9. And then I think you'll see there's kind of a pattern to this. Those two values are both less than 8 pi over 3. Now here's the thing. Since they want all the values that go up to 8 pi over 3, I have to see if I can go a little bit further. So what does that mean? Well, I solved these two, but let's see if we can keep going. So in other words, pi over 3 is in the first quadrant. From pi over 3, if I run around the circle once, 7 pi over 3 is also in the first quadrant, right? So let's see what happens if I do 7 pi over 3 and solve for x. X would be 7 pi over 3 times the reciprocal, which is 4/3, and that would give me 11. I'm sorry, not 11. 7 and 4, that's 28 pi over 3. And then check your domain. Does that fit in the domain 28 pi over 3? Is that bigger than 8 pi? It is. That's much bigger than 8 pi over 3. So guess what? We're going to stop, and then these are our only two answers. So on delta math, of course, you're going to type in 4 pi over 9, and then when you hit a comma, it'll open up a second window, and you type in 8 pi over 9. Okay, so not the easiest problems in the world. You got to take them step by step.